The refugee station Kepri. 9 drifted at the edge of civilized space, a rusted ring of metal and patched hulls orbiting a dying orange star. It was the kind of place no empire claimed and no fleet protected, a place where unwanted species, broken survivors, and forgotten wars all ended up eventually. Commander Elias Ward hated stations like this. Not because they were dangerous, but because they reminded him of what the galaxy preferred to forget. He stood in the intake bay, arms folded, watching the daily processing line shuffle forward. Dozens of species passed through the scanners. Scaled, furred, chitin-plated, gelatinous. Each was catalogued, tagged, and assigned a habitation sector. Then the line stopped. A small figure stood frozen at the scanner gate. She was avian, but not fully feathered. Thin down covered her arms, and her wings were malformed, folded tightly against her back. Her skin bore faint bioluminescent veins, pulsing softly beneath pale blue flesh. She couldn't have been more than 10 standard cycles old. The station clerk frowned. Designation. The girl looked up, eyes wide and luminous. I don't have one. A murmur rippled through the bay. No clan mark, the clerk pressed. She shook her head. They said, orphans don't need names. That was when Elias stepped forward. I'll vouch for her, he said calmly. Every eye turned toward him. The clerk hesitated. Commander, this is an unregistered alien minor. No genetic sponsor. No planetary claim. Elias met his gaze. Then she's under Terran humanitarian protection. Log her as my responsibility. The clerk swallowed and typed quickly. The girl stared at Elias as if he'd just defied gravity. What's your name? He asked gently. Caliph, she whispered. My mother told me once. Before the raiders came. Elias nodded. Well, Caliph, you're safe here. I promise. He didn't know yet how badly that promise would be tested. Caliph adjusted quickly to life aboard Kepri. 9, at least on the surface. She followed Elias everywhere, silent and observant, absorbing the station's chaos with unsettling calm. But there were nights she woke screaming. Elias heard her once from down the corridor. By the time he reached her quarters, she was shaking, wings twitching uncontrollably. They're back, she whispered. The Skyburners. Pirates? Elias asked. She nodded. They took everyone. I hid. They didn't see me. Survivor's guilt. He recognized it instantly. Over the next few weeks, Elias noticed something else. Caliph was different. She learned languages at impossible speed. She anticipated danger seconds before alarms sounded. Once, she pulled Elias out of the way just before a maintenance drone malfunctioned and exploded. How did you know? He asked afterward. She looked confused. I just felt it. Then, one evening, as the station drifted through a field of stellar debris, Caliph froze mid-step. She gasped. Sir, her voice trembled. Something's happening to my back. Elias turned just in time to see her wings unfold. Not clumsily, not painfully, perfectly. Feathers erupted in shimmering arcs of light, vast, radiant, edged with bioluminescence that pulsed like a heartbeat. The room filled with electromagnetic static as gravity warped around her. The station lights flickered. Caliph screamed as energy surged through her body. Elias lunged forward. Caliph, look at me. You're okay, just breathe. Her wings expanded fully, brushing the ceiling. Symbols, ancient, alien, ignited along her spine, glowing gold and white. Then everything went dark. When Elias woke, the room was in lockdown. Emergency bulkheads sealed the quarters, and armed station security stood behind force fields. Caliph lay unconscious in the center of the room, wings folded, light dimmed to embers. What the hell happened? Elias demanded. The station AI responded before security could. Biological anomaly detected. Energy output equivalent to a Class 7 reactor spike. Security officers shifted nervously. She's a threat, one muttered. Elias stepped between them and Caliph without hesitation. She's a child. The station director appeared via holo, face pale. Commander Ward, do you know what she is? Elias shook his head. But I know what she's not. She's not your experiment. The director hesitated. Her genetic signature matches the Seraphel. The room went silent. The Seraphel were legend. Ancient guardians who once protected entire star clusters, beings said to wield gravity, light, and space-time itself. They vanished millennia ago after a war that reshaped the galaxy. They're myths, Elias said. They were, the director replied. Until now. As if summoned by the word, Caliph stirred. Her eyes opened, no longer blue, but radiant white. Sir, she whispered weakly. I remember. Elias knelt beside her. Remember what? Her voice shook with awe and terror. What I'm supposed to become. Caliph's memories returned in fragments. Her species weren't orphans. They were hidden. The Seraphel had splintered themselves into mortal forms to escape extinction, scattering their children across the galaxy, suppressing their power until a specific trigger. Empathy. Not rage. Not conquest. But kindness. Elias had been that trigger. By choosing her when no one else would, he'd awakened what her people had sealed away. Word spread fast. Too fast. Within days, unknown warships entered the system, sleek, black vessels bearing no flags. The Consortium of Ascendancy, a regime that believed power justified ownership, had come to claim the last Seraphel. Hand over the child, their envoy demanded over open channel, or the station will be reduced to debris. The director looked to Elias. Elias looked to Caliph. She met his gaze, wings trembling. They're afraid of me. They should be, Elias said quietly. But that doesn't mean you owe them anything. The Consortium fleet opened fire. Defense cannons flared uselessly. Shields buckled. Caliph stepped forward. Sir, if I let it out, I don't know if I can stop. Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. Then I'll be right here, like I promised. She closed her eyes. The station fell silent as gravity bent inward. Caliph rose into the air, wings spreading wide. Light poured from her feathers, forming sigils older than recorded history. Space itself warped as her presence expanded beyond the hull. Consortium ships froze mid-volley. Then they collapsed, crushed by invisible forces, folded into themselves like paper. One by one, the fleet vanished into imploding spheres of light. When it was over, Caliph descended slowly, power fading. She collapsed into Elias's arms. I didn't want to hurt them, she whispered. You protected people who couldn't protect themselves, he replied. That matters. The aftermath changed everything. Galactic councils took notice. Myths became fact. The Seraphel returned, not as conquerors, but as guardians once more. And humanity? Humanity earned something no empire ever had. Trust. Because when the galaxy found a god in the form of a frightened child, it was a human who chose compassion over control. Weeks later, as Kepri 9 orbited peacefully, Caliph stood at an observation window, wings folded comfortably now. What happens to me? She asked. Elias smiled. You grow. You learn. You decide who you want to be. She nodded thoughtfully. Then I choose to stay with humans. Elias laughed softly. Careful. We're stubborn. Caliph smiled, light flickering beneath her skin. So am I. And somewhere across the stars, Ancient beings watched with hope for the first time in millennia because a human had.